All right, superhero time. Let's start with the non-Marvel superheroes in the Umbrella Academy. The Stephen Blackman, Jeremy Slater, the showrunners for this, a Netflix series, which it seems like it's going to have a second season. I didn't check if that got picked up already, but the way that it ended, it was 10 episodes, an hour-long episode or around that for each one. Follows this group of adopted superheroes who are all born on the same day in some like weird chance, like women becoming pregnant out of nowhere situation, adopted by this weird guy who raises them and tries to get the most out of their powers, but they drift apart and now they're adults and present, and all the family dynamics are there and they have to come together to save the world from the apocalypse.
Yep.
Did I summarize that?
Yeah, pretty much. Steve Blackman, one of the showrunners, he was Emmy nominated for Fargo season 2 and actually won a WGA for that. So definitely a smart hand at the wheel, I would say. But you mentioned you assume it got picked up. All the scuttlebutt, you know how Netflix likes to tell us these things without showing their work, but all scuttlebutt is that Umbrella Academy was very well watched. I mean, we're getting to this a little late due to our schedules, but it came out back on February 15th. And you'd check like ComScore traffic and web traffic, and like people are checking this show out, but it hasn't gotten greenlit yet. And I'm wondering the reason that might be. This was not produced by Netflix. Netflix did not make this at all. They just obviously distributed it. Universal Cable Productions made this, aka Universal, NBC. I wonder if Netflix just will say, "Nah, we're not going to renew this," because they don't actually control it or own it. That's obviously a topic that'll come up once we hear more, but they greenlit the show back in 2017. Since then, we know they've stopped shows that they didn't really control, even successful ones like American Vandal. So that's been on my mind since I researched that and learned that. But either way, Umbrella Academy is coming at an interesting time because Netflix obviously officially canned all of their Defenders universe show. The Jessica Jones season 3 will come out soon. That'll be the end of it. They're all done. Whether they live on Hulu, we'll find out, or Disney Plus, we'll find out one day. But in the meantime, we have the Umbrella Academy on Netflix, and it's not a Marvel or DC property, so it's inherently not as famous or well known. And I was immediately taken with the fact that they're so clearly influenced by the X-Men. I mean, Umbrella Academy, you have all these kids learning to harness their powers, this rich, wealthy head of household, aka Professor Xavier. Like, there's a lot of obvious analogs and spoilers for the whole season. But as we progress through the show, and once we learn more about Vanya and what actually happens with her, I'm like, oh, this is Dark Phoenix. I know the story already. Like, it's so obvious.
Yeah, actually, I wrote down X-Men meets Haunting of Hill House. It feels like the lane they went with. You know, this family that's brought back together after all these like issues that pull them apart from growing up, and they have to overcome these family dynamics to, you know, solve some sort of crisis in a way. And yeah, the X-Men parallels are so blatant. It's definitely out there. And I mean, this is based off a comic book series, so I'm sure
relatively contemporary series too. So it's
2007, I think.
Yeah, it's actually still running. It's like a bunch of like limited runs, so not that many issues. But yeah, I mean, watching the show, I think it looks cool. The saturation it stands out. But the world building was pretty strong. And what's cool is, as you said, we're just kind of plopped into the series as adults. We get some flashbacks of them as kids, but we're really picking up in the present day. And that lack of an origin story is definitely welcome. We'll talk more about origin stories in a minute for Captain Marvel, but I like that choice. I think ultimately my thing with the show is, while I enjoyed the show, I liked a bunch of the characters and performances, I did think that it was just too long. The story, I think any smart, alert viewer can kind of grasp where this plot's going and how it will roughly end several hours before it gets there. And unfortunately, it started to spin its wheels in the middle. This was an issue that really hurt the Marvel Netflix shows. And it was a pretty constant criticism. And if Umbrella Academy was 8 episodes, heck, maybe even 6, like, I think it would have been a lot tighter. That being said, what we got, I still liked it. I'm still happy I, watched the whole thing. good fight choreography. Like I said, there's some good actors. I mean, I really liked like Cameron Britton and Mary J. Blige in like supporting roles. I thought they were really, really good. So overall, I think it's pretty enjoyable, but definitely some structure issues, which unfortunately has been a theme with any superhero TV these days.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. The pacing of the show was off. The first like 4 or 5 episodes, I was kind of like, okay, we get this. Like these all could have been a half hour, and we would have gotten where we needed to go. I did feel like the show started to really catch its stride near the end, though, and I think what helped that was putting these characters together finally. Because in the beginning, it was jumping around from what there's 7 children plus,
and one's dead.
Yeah, and one's dead, and then you also have the 2 from the whatever the like people controlling the timelines is
commission.
Black.
Yep.
Yeah, the commission, right? So you have like 9 characters you're following who all have these different stories developed to different lengths, and it's just so kind of disjointed in a way. Like you start getting one story that jumps to, you're getting Devanya, jumps to Klaus, jumps to number 1. Like you're just kind of all over the place. So when they finally start coming together, it's like, okay, here we go, and things really start happening. Vanya starts to explore her powers, and that's really interesting. Although Ellen Page, man, I mean, I wish she had a better character to work with. I feel like she was so mopey for pretty much the whole season, and then just became this like otherworldly power. It's like, damn, like
right. And again, like it's so obvious what's happening to her, but she doesn't have anything to do. And like, oh, this guy's totally good at manipulating you. That's just an educated guess, but I'm pretty sure that's where it's going. Then you learn it. Then she learns it. Like it just, it's too thin to be drawn out as much as it is. And like Ellen Page, I mean, I just started thinking, I was like, man, where's Ellen Page been? Like we got Juno, obviously, Inception, and X-Men. That's really it. Like, why hasn't there been more Ellen Page? And unfortunately, this also feels like a bit of a miss because, like, once she starts being all like, evil white violin Vanya, like, it's not like she's doing that much,
right? Like, what is there to that character other than we'll talk about this with Captain Marvel, but like, she's basically like a god at that point. Like, no one can touch her. I don't know, kind of crazy. One thing I also found, I agree, like the fight sequences are great, the musical cues are great, the music in this just in general,
those great set pieces, yeah,
so good. But it started to feel so formulaic. At one point, I was watching, and my girlfriend Julianne came in, and I said, "Oh, in like 5 minutes, there's going to be like a fight scene with like a music cue. Just wait for it." It was, I think it was the penultimate episode when they're in the bowling alley or something like that. And sure enough, awesome. Like, it was awesome. SATURDAY, and like all the shootings. It was great. And running down the bowling alley lanes, like it looked so cool, and it looked very comic booky, which I thought was excellent. But it just did feel like almost like too predictable at points where I was like not as interested because of that.
Yeah, I mentioned Cha-Cha and Hazel's characters I liked. I thought the relationship, especially Hazel's character, there's really well drawn throughout, and they get a lot to do, so that makes sense. I also thought Klaus was an obvious standout. I thought Robert Sheen was really good in that role, but I mean,
great last name.
he talks to dead people, and he stays not sober to avoid that. Like high concept as fuck, great. Like we all can get on with that. It's good. Also has PTSD. Like there's a lot going on with him. He was good. We mentioned Vanya. Luther, played by Tom Hopper, aka Dickon from Game of Thrones. I thought he was fine. Again, he was kind of like we kind of know he's kind of a straight arrow. Like also. I'm not even one to like guess what's gonna happen. I never really think about that much, but I'm like, seems like he probably has romantic feelings for Allison. Yeah, sure enough, he does. Yep. Okay, took me 4 more hours to find out for sure. Allison, same thing. Like, I think she had like probably the most wasted potential. I don't think she was bad, but almost too melodramatic for my liking. I thought we could have taken a different direction, but I think the clear weakest link was Diego. Like. Yeah, like Eudora, his ex-girlfriend, dies really quick. He doesn't really have anything else going on with him, and apparently that was actually a change from the comics. That Eudora character, but yeah, I thought Diego, he just seemed really headstrong and not really that interesting, and also probably the least powerful too. So
yeah, but you didn't even mention my guy number 5, Aiden Gallagher. I thought he
Yeah,
was
he's good.
actually really good. And obviously a very meaty role. But to be, alongside all these adult actors, I thought he really held his own and uh, played that character great. What'd you think of Mary J. Blige?
Definitely not Mudbound,
No.
obviously. It's just campy, but
Yeah.
it kind of fit her character. I think what she was doing. That was cool.
Yeah.
Not something I expected from her. A more actiony role or more cutthroat role, but she's definitely making some cool choices as an actress, I would say.
Yeah.
Um, it's weird. Some of these scenes where time would stop for some characters or some events or motions, and then other people would walk through like the pause scene. It reminded me a lot of Legion, especially because like I feel like the visuals
Yeah.
would look really cool in those scenes. So, I mean, again, like there's a lot of like cool influences and cool moments. And this was really condensed, I think, and maybe some other script choices were made. I think this could have been like a really, really strong, tight season. That being said, again, I still liked it. I still think there's plenty to like about it. And if this is your kind of thing, like genre stuff, if you like, I mean, there's some noir elements, or if you like really out there stuff like time travel, I mean, I think this can really deliver. But it's funny, I've seen it compared to Doom Patrol, which is the new show, live action show on DC Universe streaming service, which is funny. It has like Timothy Dalton in it, it has Brendan Fraser on it. Either way, it's another DC, it's a team, and it's actually Doom Patrol is getting more love than Umbrella Academy for actually going further with the weirdness. If you think about Umbrella Academy, they almost play it too safe. I mean, we have a talking chimp butler, and Luther is literally an ape man.
Yep.
And yet it still felt like we kind of just went down the middle with it, you know?
Yeah, and a mom who's a robot.
Right.
I mean, just so out there. Yeah. Also, one more shout out: Kate Walsh, who plays the handler. She's been on like Grey's Anatomy. I think it was The Bad Judge or something like that was her other show.
Mhm.
I thought she was really good, and every time she's on screen, she played that part really well. So overall, good performances. Just maybe the show could use some fine tuning, some tightening up.